All right, we are live. So let us make us a business animal. This one's Raccoon and Associates. And we're going to make us another one. All right, let's get to it. First of all, you have to determine what kind of animal you want. I got the suggestion of a dog. Dog too simple? You have something else in mind? This one looks nice. A giraffe? All right, you pick your animal, I'll choose mine. We'll just work with the dog for now. Now, it's easy to use an animal, an example, that has a background already cut out of it. In the case that you don't have one that's cut out, just like you just use, you say masking to just cut around the animal, or use your magnetic lasso tool and go around it. But for this one, let's say we're using this dog, but size is too small. So really depending on what size you want to get, you choose the size you want. All right, so let's pick a picture. I'll work with this one. So we need to get the picture of this dog and business suit guy. Business suit. So just pick a suit or a dress, depending. Red one, this one? Too small. Let's look for a large image. Size, large. So let's use large images. How about this one? This one? Size is large enough. Alright, cool. Let's view image. Usually don't like taking things with
The next one, the guy with the background was
up here.
right there.
This?
No.
Over here?
There.
This left?
Over.
This?
There.
This? Come give me more work to do. Background in there and everything, Alright, let's check the image quality. Alright, this looks decent. Business suit. Alright, so let's say I want to change this guy's head to a dog's head. Not that he's a dog or anything. But let's just copy this image. Remember, it's always good to get large images. So I'm going to start off with a new background. I'll choose the size I want to work with. Because I'm copying the image of the background that we just copied a while ago. Naturally, Photoshop is going to use the preset as your clipboard. So you're going to get the same size as that. So you can either choose to work with that size, or you can edit it and then drag it over into another composition. For this one, we just edit it first and then drag it over. Or not. Let's just work with this size, 920 by 1080. 1920 by 1080. 300. Press OK. Paste that guy in. It's this large, and there's something I could probably point out about in Photoshop. When you actually open an image in Photoshop, and I'll show you. Let me just open that image again. Let's save it first. Save image as. Pardon me? The same one with the background. Yeah. Like so. Mine has background? Yeah, that's because you own the image itself. So we're just going to open that image again. Let me just open it. So, file, open. Just go to downloads real quick. And come back down to the same dude guy. Where is he? Let's save this. Oh. Dark blue wool gray guy. 1080. Alright, so in this, we want to get rid of him, but we kind of want to keep the background. I guess I could probably ask the question, are we keeping the background or are we getting rid of the background? Keeping background, getting rid of the background? Keep it and just change the head, right? So that means I'm going to have to use some tools here that we have to kind of cut his head off. I could probably use the lasso tool, but we can try something else. Let's just go in a little bit. Right now, like I said, I just opened the image a while ago. I'm just gonna just cut around the neck area here. This is the magnetic lasso tool. what it's gonna do is just cut around the image and don't worry about it. Yeah, just open the image. They probably are wondering why they cut it so large. Essentially, I kind of want to get rid of the image, but I'd like to keep the background. Because remember, if you remove the head, naturally, there's not going to be anything there. Right. But you can actually do something. If I press delete right now, you have an option for the fill, color, and you have something that says content aware. What that means is that if I do the content aware delete and press OK, it's going to try and fill in the background with something. Let's see what it gets. So it tries to fill in the background as best as it can with something, right? And it almost comes close to. But we can always use the different tools that we have. You know, the this one look bad still. It's weird. But we can always use the one is a clone stamp tool. Clone stamp tool allows you to literally copy an area first. So if I press Alt and copy here, I can come in and paste in my own texture. It becomes problematic when people start recognizing that, hey, this brick texture don't really look like it. The clone stamp tool. You find it over here on the left side, right below your brushes. S is the shortcut, but to use it, you have to hold Alt first, and so you can define a source point to copy over. Right now, this is all still destructive editing, so I'm not really doing it the right way, if you want to call it a right or a wrong way. Right? I still kind of want to get that dog part in. Right? So we're keeping the background, so let's put the dog in there. Dog, 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 cool. Now this dog might be a little tricky. Why? Because the contrast level is so high and the background is white, and it also has a depth of field on there. But let's see how good we can get it to be. I'll just paste this dog in there. It's really big. And what I'll do, I'll just convert to smart object first. Right? Once you convert to smart object, let's just lower the opacity a little bit. Or a bit some more. Control T to transform. Just to see how we can get this to work. So I'm going to hold Shift and Alt to scale down to the center. Get the size of the head in there. See how big we can get it. I don't want the head there. Maybe. Maybe have the head come over a little bit in the close. Right, so that's the opacity. Of course, we'll have to go into the masking tool now and just do some cleanup. Let's see what we can get out of it. So I could probably go magic wand tool here, and it'll do a selection like this. Because my tolerance is so high, it's going to select everything close to white, and it makes a very accurate selection. So I'm going to lower this tolerance to about 20 or even less, because I know it's going to select that much. 10 as well. Let's see how much that works out. 10. All right, we get this part out, right? So I'm just going to use the brush tool in the color black and just paint it out. Right? That's one side. You can always see that here is a little jagged on the edge. Same thing again for over here. I'm just going to use my lasso tool and do my own little rough cut. Very rough cut. Because once it's rough, you can always go in later and clean it up. I think about here will do. I'm going to use the bucket tool, paint bucket, and just fill it black. Looks like this. Doesn't quite look like our dog, but it's coming along. Right? And then we can always do some more. Keratin like so, just to get the head in a little bit as best as we can. Huh? Just delete what? I'm asking it out. Yeah. I'm just painting out what I can.
So it needs to be transparent.
I just change the opacity of the layer to 41 while I'm working. Because I'm going to have to bring it back up and kind of put this color in front of the neck of the dog.
Oh, so they do that just to make sure it's
Yeah. Let's go around, do a little clean up there. Maybe a little tricky if you don't have a tablet. Not throwing any shade. I'm using my tablet, yeah. It's pretty useful. So let's say I came up like this, went around like so, a little bit of editing here and there. Because there's depth of field on it, it makes it a little more tricky to do the cutting out, right? Let's see what it looks like for now. So, Alt? No, not right now. I am pressing only when using the clone stamp tool. We press the Alt button, and that's just to define the source point, not for the whole thing. So here we see the dog. It's coming along fine. Let's just cut out a bit for the neck part, and I kind of want the head to hang over a little bit. Now talk about that depth of field. That depth of field is going to make it slightly blurry. And you just clean it up as best as you can. And just do a thing. So let me kind of lower the opacity again, just so I can see where the color is. And see that, hey, the head is going to be going through this color here. And kind of just coming over like so to get that look. Right? And bring this back up like so. Dog has a bit of that. Shade this down, shade this down, shade this down. We can always carry this down a bit some more as well, just to carry it up, because the mouth actually stops along this line here. And we can just do this and just clean it up. Of course, you want to be as realistically looking as possible. I know that the light on this dog is really up there, right? Not to mention I can see a line over here on the right side. So I'm gonna have to carry my mask a little bit over and just go down that line there. Now let's get the suit to look a little more white, like the dog, right? You could even put a paw here if you wanted to, you know. Let's see, what else? So let's play with the adjustment layers. So to create an adjustment layer, it's simply clicking on this circle here. That's usually the fourth one. And we're going to play with the curves right here. Now the curves allow you to control how dark or how bright something is. Essentially, you have these bars here, these points, black to white. Essentially, you can control how it relates to the image. So if, example, you want the darker colors to look a little brighter, you can just pull this up, right? If you want the lighter colors to look a little darker, just pull them down. But if you want to play with the contrast, let's say you want the whites to look light and the dark parts to look darker, you can actually create a curve, just clicking here and just pulling this up slightly, clicking here and lowering this. So you get a curve like that. Alright, so I'm just going to work with this for now. And what I'll do is do something slightly like this. But here's the thing about adjustment layer. It affects every layer that's below it. Right? Now I already know the dog's head is white, so I'm going to pull this down to just the coat. So it does that. Right? And what I'll do as well is I'm going to create a gradient. Because remember, there's a white box over here. This white box actually is kind of like a mask. So this right now is affecting the entire image, but I can choose that I want only certain parts of the image to be affected. So let's say just the right side I want to be affected. I'm going to change this to a black to white image, like so. I'm going to do a gradient from, I want over here to be lighter than over here. So the white must remain and the black continue. So I'm going to do something like this and just pull it across like so. And you get something like that. Yeah. Right, so that's up to you. I kind of want some more white here on the colors as well. I can just come over here and I could use the burn and dodge tool. The burn tool actually darkens your colors. The dodge tool brightens it. So let's say we're just using destructive editing for now. We're actually manipulating the pixels. You can go in and choose the dodge tool, which will brighten up your layers. So that's dependent on what you want to do. Let's say you want to brighten the shadows. You click shadows because this is dark. You can brighten up here just to give it some more shine, right? You can create your own little shadows and highlights if you want to, and just do a thing like that just to get that realism, right? Just pop in like so because the light is shining and you kind of want to be more real. And in the same breath, you can do the same for the dog. But because the dog is a smart object, the best I can do is paint a little shadow down here. So much like when we're doing the Doctor Who guy, when you create your own shadow, you just draw in your own shadow. The smart object contains all the information about a particular image. So, example, we had a dog head here. If I double click and go inside the dog head, it actually has the original image. Because what I'm really doing for this is using a mask. So if I should hide my mask by holding shift and clicking on the mask itself, it shows the original image. So normally in when you're doing photo editing, sometimes you might scale the image. So here's how the smart object works. It actually keeps all the data for that image in what I call the smart object. Normally when you scale some pixels up, it gets pixelated. And when you scale it down, it gets shrink, and you scale it up again, it's really pixelated. But because this is a smart object, whenever I scale, let's say I scale down the head, and I scale it back up, what will happen is that it keeps the quality. Let me just scale that back up. Looks blurry, but it isn't. It keeps the quality, right? So I'll go back to my original, and that's what we do. So we can always add some more, burn and dodge, dodge and burn. You can always play with it. Exposure. The higher your exposure, the brighter it's going to be. The darker exposure, the less dark it's going to be. Just brightening up just some parts here. That might be a little too much. But remember, whenever you use the burn and dodge tool, you're actually editing pixels, right? So it's not like you can say, okay, that's just one part and done. You literally manipulated the pixels in there. And maybe we just want to add something a little extra. Let's add a shadow to the right side because you know light is coming from this direction. So I'll take the brush tool and just do a quick smudge over here, just all over that and do a thing. Looks really bad. So filter, blur, Gaussian blur, blur that out. Really ugly. Right here? I actually dodged it. Yeah, dodge does that. So we'll change the blending mode on this as well. So I'm just gonna play with it and see what settings look good for me. Hard light or soft light or whichever one works. I'll just work with that one. Where's soft light? Soft light. Yeah, soft light seems to work. Yeah, just slightly. Right, so that's your little dog there. If you want to add one more thing, you could probably add some light rays. Right, so let's say we start out with some. I'm gonna click and hold shift and just do a thing. Wait for it. So I'm doing a light ray there. It's probably too bright.
Yeah, I like
Yeah. So we can change the blending mode and change it from like your normal one to either dissolve to give you that dissolved look, or you can just play with the options to see what you like. Lighten or dodge or overlay, maybe soft light. And even then you can always add a mask and kind of fade it out too.
too reddish.
And you just put it somewhere that works. And that's a dog. That's how you do something like that.